Hey, welcome to Art with Ian. Today we're talking about silhouette. That's coming up next. Alright, so silhouette. Super important to understand how powerful silhouette is in our work. And once we understand how viewers are going to respond to a silhouette, then we can begin to incorporate that, urgency to make sure that the silhouette reads in our own work. So, how powerful are silhouettes? Well, you know exactly what that is. Within a split second, you know what that is. You know what that is. Clearly a dragon. Obviously a spider. Iconic logos. McDonald's, Nike. What about machinery? It's within seconds you know that's a helicopter. A motorcycle. All these silhouettes, they need absolutely nothing more, no more attention than just the outline for the viewer to know exactly what they're looking at. You don't have to get in there and render this amazing thing that doesn't need a bunch of detail. It just reads, just as a silhouette. Now I understand that not all of our pieces can work quite this way, but it's when you're designing characters, creatures, things like that, it's really important to be thinking about how the silhouette reads. So let's collapse this down. So let's look at some good versus bad. If you look at this, it's a picture. I think that a lot of people would figure out that it's a picture, but you don't want them to figure it out. You want them to know without even thinking. So this clearly, very clearly, a man throwing a baseball. That's obviously what it is. Now let's look at this one down here. Is it clear that this is someone holding a gun shooting? No, but it is. It is a person holding a gun, but it's pointed because of the view, because of the decision that was made for the pose or the angle to show the viewer the shot. It's not clear at all. This, however, it's very obvious. We've got a guy, even the dog tags and the pants, the way that they look military with the boots, all of those things help sell that this is a guy holding two guns, jumping and firing his guns. So the difference between how you turn the camera in 3D space around your subject and also the pose that they're in, that you choose for them to be in, are contributing factors basically to the potency of your silhouette. So instead of doing like line drawings like you would traditionally think to a line drawing, like, just set up like your, eye line and your nose line, your mouth or whatever. Instead of like thinking about your designs that way, which is a great way to work for certain things. I work that way all the time. But if you're looking for a full design, like if you actually want to get a big picture design happening for your entire character, creature, or whatever, try working this way instead. So grab the hard round pressure opacity brush. You could also use the hard round brush, but I like this one because you can see a little bit of overlap because the opacity isn't completely 100%. And I just have it set to black for the color. And basically, you can just sit and start laying in your, you can sit and block in whatever it is you're doing, kind of a thing. And work in big, broad shapes, So between that and thinking about your camera, so instead of having your camera, let's say your subject is here and your camera is here, instead of working that way, think about putting the camera here, or on the opposite side over here, or over here. That way you're seeing in a 3/4 and maybe you're looking up at the subject or you're looking down at it, and you're not just getting this very kind of static forward look, where you're not getting a static sideways look, like, you know, from the exact side either. So let's try a really quick little design of some kind here. Let's try like a little bug type of creature. I've got a couple references up top. Let's try something with kind of a smaller head, and then with the thorax, and abdomen. Something like this might be good. And see, we're just thinking about, I'm just basically scribbling and thinking about the biggest, broadest shapes right now. And that's all I care about. That's, if I can get the silhouette to read, you know, then everything is going to be, then we're off to a great design start. You know, the detail comes all later. And you know, thinking about about maybe some basic ideas of your design as you, like, you know, and some indications for yourself to look at later. And because we're at a 3/4 or a kind of a close to a 3/4, there's going to be some overlap of maybe the thorax going into the abdomen. Let's give them some mouth part type of thing. Maybe like some kind of antennae, spiky stuff. Let's see. Got a couple different ideas up here to kind of splice together. Kind of like legs that do this kind of thing, like this. Maybe we'll have one that comes towards us like this. And because this is a creature design, I only have to take elements from reality to get a viewer to even think maybe something like somewhat bug-like is happening. And then after that, it's like I can make choices, like, do I want it to have 6 legs like an insect on Earth, or do I want to do something different with the design? I can see my shapes, my angles, and just make new decisions, and I'm not really laboring here. I'm not, like, when you do a line drawing, it can really quickly turn into like noodling detail, laboring over shit, you know, the details, instead of seeing the broad shapes. And what you can end up having happen is that you find yourself down the road struggling with the design, but feeling so invested in what you're doing because you've spent so long working on it that you don't want to give up on it. And really, what you should be doing is scrapping the design. So working in a way where you can keep the investment down to a minimum, because you're really not actually working very hard at, you know, on what you're doing. It's a really liberating way to work, actually, because, you know, I'm not, like, what I've done here so far. I mean, what has it been, a couple minutes, and I don't care about anything that I've done here. I haven't worked hard on it. I've just enjoyed putting shapes down, putting lines down, and maybe he's got like maybe he's got some like extra little grabber type things. Just enjoying the designing aspect, and it's nice to be able to do that. Wonder if wing type things. Might be kind of cool. And then as you go along, you can just pull up a hard around eraser. Oh, I have it set to airbrush right now. Pull up a hard eraser and go in, and I decided I wanted to put a more of a tilt on that back leg. Kind of just refine your design a little bit if you actually like what you're doing, and if you don't like it, just scrap it. It's it's minutes to get to it's only minutes to get to a shape. In this case it's a bug-like creature type shape. Go back to my brush here, and if you do end up liking something, you can then take this. You'd be able to take this and run with it by, turning your opacity down, get a new layer over the top, and then at this point, then you could take, a brush that you like to sketch with. Like I like this texture sketch brush that I have. And then you could actually come in and start making some decisions like, oh, this is where the leg pops out from here. This is the overlap that's happening here. This leg's coming from here. And as you're laying your shapes down initially, you'll kind of sense some of this stuff because you're the one, drawing it. But this way, basically, before you ever start working on a line drawing of any kind, you already know you have a strong silhouette, basically. And that takes a ton of the pressure off, so that when you go to do your line drawing, you actually have, you have something to work with. And this method doesn't always work, but in the majority of the time it is really helpful if you're looking to design a full character, like a full creature or something that you really don't know exactly where you want to start with it. You just know that you want something that reads well against your background, a nice strong silhouette. And this simple technique of just thinking about your silhouette early on and laying down big shapes with a brush, it will improve your work. Looking at your silhouette and understanding your silhouette and how it impacts the viewer will definitely improve your work. So I highly recommend that you give this a try and see how it does for you personally and your own stuff. And if you do try it, if you do like it, let me know in the comments how it worked out for you. And as always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at artwithian, and I will see you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and share it with your friends. Make sure you ring that bell for notifications of future videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.